Hi, welcome back to another edition of Max and Nikki 1000th Time Reactions,
where we react to a song after listening to it for our 1000th time.
We release 3 videos a day,
every day,
so make sure to hit that subscribe button
and turn on post notifications
so you don't miss out on all this great content of ours.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to listen to right now, Max?
We're going to listen to White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane.
Mm-hmm. This is a great song.
Classic late 60s song here.
Classic San Francisco scene song.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just, we've heard this many times before. For all intents and purposes, we'll call it our 1000th time. Mm-hmm. If you're new to the channel, the way we do things here is we listen to a song all the way through without stopping so we don't interrupt the intention of the artist. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. We'll talk about a reaction, go into some in-depth analysis.
And talk about a little bit of the history if we should know any bit.
Sure.
Think about it.
And when I say in-depth analysis, I'm talking about psychoanalysis. No, I'm just joking.
Well, I mean, this...
Not related to the song.
No, I mean, well, you could talk about that. Psycho or psychedelic analysis.
Sure. But before we do all that, just want to remind you all, as we usually do, that we have another YouTube channel called Max and Nikki, on which we perform oldies, tunes, jazz standards, and originals in that vein.
And we got comedy videos on there as well. Mm-hmm. But for right now, let's take a listen to White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane.
For our 1000th time.
Here we go.
The snare drum reverb is over there.
One pill makes you larger and one pill makes you small, and the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall. And if you go chasing rabbits and you know you're going to fall, tell 'em a hookah smoking caterpillar has given you the call. Call Alice when she was just small.
You know, that's such an interesting song to have been a hit, you know?
Well, hey, it was, you know, this was the late 60s psychedelic movement as a...
It doesn't follow the song structure of a pop hit, you know? It just builds and builds, and it's a short song,
It kind of has
too.
like a... you know, it builds and builds, like kind of like bolero in a way, because it has this marching kind of beat.
Yeah,
you know?
but then it switches up after the marching thing. You know, then the drums start doing a regular rock beat, but then it goes back to that marching thing. You know.
Well, let's think of another one. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. That has kind of like one of these. You know, I mean, it's a different kind of song altogether, but it does have this sort of
changing drum.
You know, it has this sort of snare kind of marching kind of sound, you know.
Anyway, this song, it's
well,
really
actually,
cool.
No, that rhythm's a little bit different, actually.
It is. It's not a but this song is so cool. I mean, Grace Slick's vocals are really powerful. I mean, and she really handles it with control. I mean, it starts off, very quiet, and just she really belts it out at the end there.
Right.
But she also has such a unique vibrato to her voice.
Right. I mean, sometimes I don't care for vibrato in singers. Sometimes I feel like it's kind of masking out of tuneness, actually. But in her case, it seems well intentioned and quite good.
Yeah, it's almost kind of adds to sort of almost like a yodel quality to her vocals.
Well, it just adds to the kind of atmospheric, that wobbly effect kind of sounds like it adds to the atmosphere of kind of the psychedelic sound of it,
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, obviously the lyrics are
Just referencing
to Alice in Wonderland, but with, obviously a nod to taking drugs, obviously.
Right.
And that whole story, Alice in Wonderland, sounds like a drug trip, actually.
Sure.
I mean, there's a caterpillar smoking a hookah in it. I mean, that is pretty interesting. And she does eat this, what is it, a little cake or something like that, and she becomes really tall, and then
Well, she has a mushroom too, right? From what I remember.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, a lot of it's just all craziness going on in that. I mean, in that whole thing.
It's crazy to think that this band, Jefferson Airplane, would evolve into something like Starship. Eventually, with a completely different sound, and that would become way more commercial, mainstream sounding. I mean, to think, just
well, a lot of people kind of. A lot of their old fans detested Starship. I actually think it's very catchy still.
It's interesting. It's
a different kind of
Jefferson
sound.
Airplane to Jefferson Starship to just Starship, right?
Right. I mean, we built the city on rock and roll. A lot of people kind of poke fun at that song as
But
being
they also
just
were big
a
on
fall from grace, as it were.
But they were big on the ballads too in the 80s,
Sure. Although I gotta say, we built that city. It is quite a.
It's not a bad song.
It's a pretty catchy song,
But this song is
although it's not. It's funny because that song is not rock and roll though,
sure,
which is interesting.
But this song is just. It's interesting that it has this marching feel, this bolero feel, because it's not. Yet this would be categorized as rock music,
Yeah,
they were really experimenting with styles at the time.
Well, yeah, definitely that. It also is using this kind of Spanish Jewish scale, as it's called. It's been called. It has this. The scale. It starts on. It starts on the 1 minute. The second note is a half step up, and then hold on. Something like that.
What's the instrument? Is that just a guitar that's playing that, or what?
Well, no. I mean, I think she's singing in that.
No.
Too,
But the in the beginning, or
I think it's the guitar. I mean, there's pretty minimal. This whole song is pretty minimal in instrumentation.
Even the way
it's just a basic band.
But even way the way the bass starts, it's really
it's kind of
really-
percussive in a way.
It's kind of percussive, and it's so iconic. Just the way it starts, you know immediately what the song is when the bass plays that.
Sure. I mean, it's been used. Obviously, The Matrix uses it. Did they use it in the original movie or just this new movie?
What are you talking about? They
Resurrections.
used this song, not just they used it in a lot of media.
No, I know they've used it. Obviously, they've used it in a lot of media, but I'm talking about in kind of more, just in a recent movie. It goes perfectly well with that movie because he's picking two pills, between two pills.
Well, that's the original movie, yeah.
No, but even in. But I'm just saying,
not just that. In the beginning of the movie, he has to follow the White Rabbit.
That's right, exactly. So, I mean,
why are we talking about The Matrix here?
Well, because it uses that song.
So,
but it also is that movie is referencing this song in its choice,
Sure.
in its narrative.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah,
That's how influential the song is.
The sound of this song is very much a sound that you would get from San Francisco in the late 60s. I mean, it's just they were kind of the bands from San Francisco at the time. They were kind of leading the way in sort of this psychedelic rock movement, you know, bands like Quicksilver Messenger Service, or even Janis Joplin, or the brothers. What's it called?
Garcia. Just kidding. I'm joking.
The brothers holding company.
No,
Brothers Holding Company.
it's not called the Brothers Holding Company. It's
Yes, it is.
wait, is it Brothers Holding Company?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Wait, are you sure?
Look it up.
But she was kind of have more of a bluesy thing, no?
That's true.
It's called Big Brother and the Holding Company. I knew that. I was, yeah. Well, no, yes. Well, anyway, they did. They were psychedelic.
Hold on, no. I'm sorry. I meant Big Brother and the Holding Company.
Sure.
But I mean, they're obviously not as psychedelic.
Well, they were psychedelic though too.
But the songs that I guess they're most known for is kind of this more bluesy kind of hard rock feel in a way.
Take a little piece of my heart. It kind of has it has a little bit of a roots kind of sound to it.
But but there are other bands too. I mean,
the Grateful Dead, obviously.
But it's funny. I think when George Harrison visited San Francisco, he thought he had built it up in his mind that it was going to be this really cool place, and
he was very uncomfortable there.
Yeah, he thought that. I think maybe these people were maybe a little too drugged out for his taste.
Well, and not just that, but he probably thought they were pretty maybe too bohemian for him. Like he probably thought maybe they were kind of dirty seeming. Actually, but everyone's got their own choices, how they want to live their life. But I think he just was uncomfortable with that way of life.
But this is a great song.
Quite reverbed out too.
It's quite reverb. Well, I wanted to note that when the snare drum comes in the beginning, the reverb for the snare drum is all the way on the right side.
Somebody once told us that it's not a good idea to place reverb on the rhythm instruments, and that's just wrong. I mean, I don't understand that. I guess maybe because it might tend to get muddied up easier. Maybe they say that about the bass, but I think the bass is even reverbed
I think,
out a little bit,
it helps that the reverb on the snare drum is panned to the complete opposite side of the actual snare drum. So it's almost as if they're two signals going on at the same time, and they're not. It won't get muddied up that way.
Sure, but also there's not a whole lot instrument-wise going on. As I said, it's just your basic rock band instruments. You got the lead vocals, lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass, and drums.
That's it. So it's not going to really get muddied up, especially with this kind of LCR panning that they do, that you hear often in the 60s.
Well, that's why they do. Even today, people use this LCR panning with kind of just additional effects and instruments that are not being in the main stuff that are on other parts of the spectrum of the panning spectrum. But the LCR panning is used to separate things better, I guess.
Right.
To keep them not muddied up, I guess, is what they do. But
anyway, it's a great song. We love it. I think that'll do it for this reaction video. If you like what you heard and saw today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to find out about more Max Nicky reaction videos.
Please keep tuning in.